Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as some of you might know, there was a Blitz European Championship in Monte Carlo a few days ago, and a superstar, a kid who was only 8 years old, had a fantastic result. She was from England, and her name is Bodhana Sivanandan, if I pronounce her name right. But anyway, she played fantastic games and she scored really high, especially in blitz games. And even the last round, she played against the finalist of the World Cup in the women's section. And I wanted to analyze this game for you guys and see how the game went. So keep on watching. Okay, so Bodhana started the game with e4. And Nargul Salimova, who's a strong woman grandmaster and international master, she played c6. And we have Caro-Kann defense, which is really popular nowadays, even in top level tournaments. So she played knight c3, and black played d5, knight f3. All the moves are theory and standard. D takes e4, knight takes e4, and here Salimova played knight f6. Another move that black can play in this opening is to move the bishop to g4 to pin the knight, which is also possible in this position. So after knight f6, white played queen e2, and knight took on e4. Guys, I want to show you a very nice opening trap here. If black here moves the knight to d7, now white has one move checkmate. White can play knight d6, and it's a beautiful checkmate, isn't it? Okay, but anyway, here black took the knight, queen took the knight, knight d7, bishop c4, knight f6, knight e5. Notice that here, if black takes the queen, white has one move checkmate. Beautiful checkmate, right? Okay, so let's go back. In this position, Salimova played e6, which is a good move to prevent bishop takes f7. And as you can see on the left side of the board, we have the time control. So she basically gained some seconds, because the tournament starts with 3 minutes plus 2 seconds increments, and she already has 3 minutes and 10 seconds, which is really impressive. So she's playing very fast here, and probably she knows what she's doing here, and she knows the theory. Okay, so now it's time to defend our queen. So she moved the queen back to e2, b5 was played, attacking the bishop on c4, and here white played bishop b3, and then black played queen c7, castle, normal move. You want to castle to put your king into safety, bishop d6, and here d4, of course. White doesn't want to move the knight because the knight has a really good square in the center. So white played d4, black castled, white played c3, black played a5, and white played bishop g5. Okay, now some of the ideas in such positions are to make a battery so we can checkmate the king on h7, but let's see what happened in the game. So black here played knight d5. Of course, black doesn't want to get double pawns here. So black played knight d5, bishop h4, c5, and bishop g3. Okay, if you look at the time here, white has 2 minutes and 14 seconds, black has 1 minute and 55 seconds. But for this move, Nargul played c takes d4, and she spent a lot of time at this point, maybe even more than 1 minute, which I think it was a turning point, even though in this position, computer says it's about equal, and computer suggests here to either push the pawn to c4 or to play something like bishop e7, but she decided to take the pawn on d4 to create this isolated pawn on d4. But now white gets this open file faster than black, and after bishop b7, Bodhana played rook a c1, which is the right move, queen e7, and she played rook e1. Okay, rook e1 maybe was not accurate, but that is okay, because you usually want to, get all of your pieces into the game. But she could move the knight to c6, And after bishop takes c6, rook takes c6, here white pieces are more active in this position. But rook a1 is also completely understandable because you want to get your rook into the game. And this is usually a square that belongs to your rook. So black here played b4, knight c6, she played it. Bishop takes c6, rook takes c6, bishop takes g3, h takes g3. So this position is about equal, but if you look at the time and look at the clock, you see that Nargol only has 9 seconds compared to her opponent, which is about 2 minutes. So she was playing really fast. And this was really impressive for an 8-year-old kid. But of course, she is a strong player and she's a woman candidate master. So let's see if she can win this position. So in the game, black played queen d7, rook ec1, knight f6. Okay, maybe moving the knight back to f6 was not that great because sometimes white can control the 7th rank. So a better move here is either to move the rook to d8 or something like h6, which is a prophylactic move. But after the move knight f6, white moved the queen to e5 to a central square, and also white is protecting the pawn on d4. So black played a4, bishop d1, a3, b3, rook d8, rook c4, knight d5 to protect the pawn, bishop f3, knight c3. And I think at this point, black wanted to win the game probably, and Nargol kind of played a risky move like knight c3. But if black plays something like rook fe8 or even h6 again, black should be completely fine, because let's say after h3, take, here white cannot take the pawn because of the rook on c6. That's why knight c3 maybe was not a great move, and it's kind of a risky move because she had only 7 seconds on the clock. So white played rook c7 here, which is not the best move actually. A better move here was just to capture the pawn on b4, and after knight takes a2, white can play rook a4, attacking this pawn, and now it is really difficult for black to protect the pawn. So for example, let's say if black wants to play rook a8, white can take, and after taking here, white can play rook c7, and this is a discovered attack, so the rook on a8 can be captured on the next move. That's why rook takes b4 was the best move in this position. But okay, she played rook c7, which also makes sense to attack the queen. And here was, I would say, the major mistake for black. She played queen d6, which is not the best move in this position. If she would have played queen b5, now actually black has more chances in this position. Why? Because after queen takes b5, knight can take, and white doesn't have time to take the pawn b4. Why? Because the rook on c7 is hanging. And that's why queen b5 was a better move to kind of, protect the pawn b4, but she played queen d6, queen took on d6, rook took on d6, rook takes b4, knight takes a2, rook a4. And at this point, white's position is kind of without any risk, and white is playing for a win because the pawn on a3 cannot be protected. So here black played g6, which was a mistake. Another move that she could play to, defend her position a little bit better, maybe was rook b6, and after rook takes a3, knight b4. So black is down a pawn, but it's not an easy position for white to win, especially in blitz games. But black played g6, and here she played rook c2, so she found this beautiful move, rook back to c2, and trapping the knight. And this is a move that actually is really impressive, because usually when the moves are like this and when the piece is moving backwards, it's more difficult to see, especially in a blitz game. I don't know if you guys saw a blitz game between Jan Nepomniachtchi and an Iranian chess player, Vardio Daneshvar, and the rook was hanging for 2-3 moves, and neither of the players realized that. So it shows that how stressful the blitz games are, and the move was actually a backwards move. So it was actually difficult even for super grandmasters. Anyway, let's get back to the game. So here black played rook b8. And this position is kind of hopeless, but I'm going to show you guys the rest of the game. So rook took on a2. This is a blitz game, so anything can happen, you know, you don't have enough time. But as you can see, she actually managed her time. She still has 1 minute and 26 seconds on the clock. So rook takes b3, rook takes a3, rook takes, rook takes d4, g4. So if black can get a rook versus rook and bishop endgame, this is a theoretically drawn position, although that is also tricky. So black is hoping, you know, to exchange her pawns with the white pawn so she can get a draw here. Black played h6, g3, king g7, king g2, king f6, bishop e2, king g7. Okay, black cannot make any progress, so black should just wait to see if white can win or not. So white pushed the pawn to f4, g5, king f3, king f6, rook e3, rook b4, rook e4, rook b3 check, king g2, rook c3, king f2, rook b3, king rook e3, rook b2, f5. f5 was an interesting move. Why? Because after taking the pawn, white has this move, rook f3, to capture the pawn. And after rook b4, notice that the rook cannot move to b5 to protect the pawn because there is a bishop here. So black played rook b4, white took with the pawn, although actually rook takes f5 was stronger here, but okay, white is still winning. After g takes f5, black played rook d4, rook d3, rook b4, and g4. Rook g4 check, king g3, and thanks to this bishop, the pawns are protected. Rook e4, bishop f3, rook here, check, here, bishop e2. The idea is to play f6, and after king g6 she has bishop d3 checkmate. Notice that if we check here, the king can go here and we don't have this check because of the rook. So she played bishop e2, very impressive. She still has about a minute on the clock. Rook e4, f6 check, king f8, rook check, rook here, takes, here, and bishop b5 check, king d8, and the king gets into the game. So as you can see, after bishop c4, the pawn is under attack. Black cannot defend the pawn, and this position is just hopeless for black. White has this pawn here, and white's pawn is blocking both of black's pawns. So here, black just resigned. I mean, Nurgle is a fantastic chess player. I even played against her in recent tournaments in Blitz and Rapid, a world championship, and she's a fantastic player. But in this game, this talented girl from England could beat her, which is really, really impressive. I know that in Blitz games, everything can happen, but she also had other good results as well, and she got a lot of rating points in this tournament. And I'm sure that we are going to hear about her in future, and I think she's gonna make her way to the top women chess very soon. Okay guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Take care.